Hi there and welcome. These are your handover videos for your Swift Challenger 580. These are a basic walkthrough on how to set up and operate the caravan as if you were coming on or off site. So starting off first, we have your black hitch head here with black lever, which you have to have pulled up, which you can then wind down your jockey wheel onto the tow bar, causing that to snap down, pushing up the red button and exposing a green ring. You then have your breakaway cable just here. Legality states if you have an eye point, it has to be used. If not, wrapped around the tow bar. You've got your handbrake just here. To disengage, press down, and to engage, flick up. It can come up with a fair bit of force. Jockey wheel is just here, used to level the caravan. And then the caravan is fitted with 13-pin electric. So if you do have 7-pin adaptation, make sure to bring yourself an adapter. 2 points either side and 2 points at the back, you have inserts for your legs. The caravan itself comes with a leg winder, or alternatively, you can get yourself a 19mm drill bit and a power drill just to make it that bit quicker. Do not attempt to jack up or level the caravan using your legs, they're simply used for stabilisation. Now I'm using test equipment today here, so I have a red propane gas bottle. I'd always recommend propane over butane just because it has a better performance in winter. Connected onto here is a black gas hose. Now this hose is dated 2025 and the hoses themselves run for 5 years if they're black, 10 years if they're orange. That connects onto this regulator just here. You need to hand tighten that as much as you physically can and then nip it up using a spanner. You don't want it ridiculously tight as there is an O-ring inside the actual hose itself, which can cause it to crack and break, which you can see on this one, got a little O-ring and too much pressure can crack and break it. On the opposing side, starting off first, we have your flue. Your flue is used to get clean air in and out of your boiler when operating on gas. Don't have to do anything with this except make sure it's nice, clean and tidy. Then we have your Acrol just here. Acrol is full of clean drinking water. And then you have a hose just here which connects on. To remove it, you press in on the trigger and pull out, and to engage, you just press it in like so. You have a plastic cap to go over the top of the Acrol to ensure no nastiness gets in, and then at the bottom of the barrel we have your strainer. Now it's crucial that sits at the bottom of the barrel to allow the maximum potential of water to come through, and if it's not at the bottom it can cause airlocks. Then here, this example does have a leisure battery fitted. It's got 2 terminals on the top, which can be put on using a 12 or 13mm spanner. Then you have your plug-in for your mains just here. Beds mover will be gone over on collection. You have these 2 points here, which is where your wastewater is going to come out of. You'll need some 28.5mm waste pipe to feed into a waste master that you can empty out at the appropriate point on site. And then lastly, we have your toilet function. So, first up, have your cassette toilet just here. To remove it, press up on the handle and pull out just like so. That handle can then extend out and up. What you want to do is twist this head to the side, open up the cap like so. You want to tilt, and at the same time as tilting, continually pressing your vent button. Now my recommendation, as you can see there, is to open up this compartment, feed in some fresh water, and again tilt and vent, just so it smells a bit nicer. Then on this cap here you have measurements of both imperial and metric, and that is for your blue chemical. Blue chemical goes into there, back it on, then push in so the orange handle sits behind the white teeth. Then above we have your flush tank. The flush tank itself has a capacity to hold 12 litres, however I wouldn't recommend putting in any more than 10 as you don't want to overfill the compartment. You can also add some pink chemical which works as a bleach without being corrosive and makes it smell nicer. Now you don't want to travel with either of these two full, so just up here got a little bong, play ball with me, to drain off any remaining water. The caravan itself will be fully drained off. Then underneath your right hand side seat compartment you have all of this here. Underneath this you can access the boiler if you ever need to do a reset on that panel. You then have your flow jets, which is what will pull through the actual water, and then you have this yellow switch here. That is your drain valve. Facing in the position as it is now, that is allowing the flow of water to come through. Facing vertically, that is in drain mode and will drain any water inside the system. you will collect that with it in the upright position in drain mode. November to March, have that up permanently unless you're actively using the caravan, and anytime you come off site, give it a drain off. Then just here we have this blue box, which is pretty much the brain box for the motor mover. Again, reset for a panel, you just remove that there. You have this grey silver box, which is your battery charger. You then have your trips all in the upright position and your fuses all in the correct position there as well. And then you have heating and hot water and charger both illuminated, showing that they're both working, a reverse polarity setting there, and a complete system shutdown button. Press that in, nothing inside the caravan is able to operate. Then you can pull down this panel and it gives you a bit more information on your trips and fuses. Then just above the door you have this panel here. Now this is your main control panel. So you have your on and off button here. You can then cycle through the settings. So right now it shows 13.8 volts all coming into the caravan. There's also a little sensor on the top there that notices if you waft your hand. Now that is not the amount from the leisure battery, that is the amount from the mains, as we're currently plugged into mains. Vehicle battery amount, which is 0, solar power, selector battery, an AC limit setter, internal temperature, now that may differ on this panel, dimmer level, heater settings, system settings, the code for the Sargent panel, ledger charging, and then you're back to the start. You then have internal lights, so you've got back lights here, then you've got your front lights here as well, and then you've got your awning light, which you press in and it shows that blue light there. And if I just go outside, you can see awning light is on. Then on the bottom, what you may have heard at the start of this was the pump. Now you press in that button, you'd have your Acrol full of clean drinking water on the outside with your pump sat at the bottom / strainer. And what it will do, it will fill up the boiler itself, get it to the maximum fill, and then anytime you open up your tap, it will replace the water. So you come over to your tap. As I've not got the actual heating on at the moment, we're just going to open up on cold. And what you're looking for is a nice, steady, continuous stream. If there's any coughs or splutters, go outside, check that the Acrol is full of water, the strainer set at the bottom of the barrel, and that your drain valve's in the correct position. What you're looking for is about 30 seconds of continual stream. Check this every time you go to set up. The main thing I'd recommend is to let it come in for about 2 minutes, even after the noise has stopped, just so that you can make sure it's all coming out. Now, as you can hear, it then refills itself. So open the tap, you can hear it pulling back in, and then the boiler's full again. Then just here we have your Truma control panel, which I've got to turn on just there. Shows the time. And then first up you have the caravan with the thermometer in it. This is for the internal temperature. You have this button, which is also a dial, so whatever I select, let's say 30 degrees, which is the maximum, you can then see the flame on the top. That shows that the heating's on. Next, you have the water temperature, so you can either have eco, hot, or boost. Boost will prioritise heating the actual water itself over heating the caravan for around 30 minutes, and then after those 30 minutes it will drop it back down to eco. Next we have your energy source, so we can either use gas, a mixture of gas and 1 kilowatt, mixture of gas and 2 kilowatt, strictly electric with 1 kilowatt, or strictly electric with 2 kilowatt. So you've got the choice of gas, mains, or both. So just for now, let's switch to electric 2, and you can see rather than a gas bottle on top, it shows 2 electric volts. You then have your fan speed, which is either eco, high, or boost. Again, similar to the water settings, eco is nice and steady, high is a lot more vigorous, and boost is a boost for 30 minutes and then drop it back down to eco. However, if I do not have the heating on at all, and I go back over to the caravan, put it right down to off, then go back over to the fan here, it's either off or vent. Now what vent does, it will circulate the air across the caravan. So if it was a nice lovely day, you'd have open all of your windows and allow some circulation of air to come in. You then have a timer here, so You put in the start time, hours first, then minutes, and then your end time. That is for the heating and hot water as well. And then you have the correct time. So it's currently not 8 o'clock. You just input the correct time and it is a 24-hour clock. You then have the spanner icon. This is for your additional settings. So offset, temperature, brightness, 12 or 24-hour clock, language, index and reset. I'm not going to go through that panel as we have set that to what we believe the most user-friendly to use. However, if you'd like to have a look inside your book pack to see what they represent, then please do so. Now, this panel, similar to this one, will naturally fade to green when not interacted with in around about 2 minutes or so. However, to completely turn this off, press and hold in. It's now off. And here we have your toilet operation. So open up the lid, press in the button, and you can hear that motor. That motor is what will push around any water inside the system to remove the waste. Press away on the handle, opens up the catch, pull it back towards you to be able to shut it back up. When the cassette is full, red light on there telling you to empty. Then here we have your hob, grill and oven. Now with this all operates on gas minus the electric plate. Electric plate, spin that to the correct mark and it will get to temperature. Everything else, press it on the dial, twist it to the side and pressing on your igniter. Now it may be a case that when you first light it up, it will then cut off, or it may take a while to light on. That is natural. That is the gas making its way through its system. This is what it looks like when they're all lit. As you can see, all burners nice and lit. Turn it back to the central position. Then it's the same concept for your grill. As you can see, grill all nice and lit. And finally your oven. Make sure that this tray does not impede on the actual igniter though. So, and there you can see that all nice and lit there as well. Only other real thing to note, if you're travelling with a gas bottle, make sure the bottle itself is off. And you have to have this glass sheet down when travelling, but don't put it down until all of these are nice and cold. Then just here we have your fridge operation. So fridge currently off, no lights inside. Press and hold in on the button on the side. It will flash up, go to its most recent memory, and then you can see lights on inside. You have 4 different choices for sauce. You either have mains, auto, which I press this button to change the sauce, and you can see auto chooses mains as the best sauce to use. Press it again, it's going to go over to that battery symbol. That is representative of 13 pin electric whilst you're towing. It is not representative of the leisure battery. So when I press it, it's going to flash up and beep. Press it again, goes over to gas. Now for gas, I'd recommend checking through all your hob, grill and oven first, just to make sure it's all nice and lit. You may gradually hear it tick in, then once it's finished ticking, don't have to do anything. You then have the amount of power coming into the fridge, 5 being the most powerful, 1 being the least powerful, but even on maximum potential, it takes around 4 hours for it to fully chill. Then, to turn it off, press and hold in, and it's off.